Hello and welcome to Clay to Canopy, the show where I attempt to make just about everything from the ground up. In this video, I'm going to be taking some leftover timbers from a fallen tree and making a lamp for my New England Sunporch. Let's do this. As a furniture maker, I have to think a lot about where things are going to go, how they're going to fit into an environment, the overall design and aesthetic, and what that's going to do to a room. Especially when it comes to large pieces of furniture, I kind of feel like, when you buy a couch, that's a really big investment. Usually people go with something really neutral. But when it comes to something like a lamp, this is an opportunity for you to really be bold, really have something unique. With the lamp, it's just an accent piece, the jewelry of your room. And I have a very, very special fondness to lamps. My dad used to make lights. Making lamps is something that I've fallen in love with because of that freedom, being able to add something to an environment that can completely change it, but also not alter it in such a way where you're making this major commitment to a room, like a couch, unless you're me. By now, you probably realize I make some really bold things and throw out all those kinds of rules. But anyway, I am still going to make a very unique bespoke lamp today. I have some leftover pieces from the chair from the fallen tree, so I'm going to be using those pieces. I did spend some time back on the shave horse stripping the bark off of these. And then it was a piece of wood leftover from when I made my benches. You can buy this weathered stuff. A piece of pine board that has been weathered intentionally, whatever process they use, it's mostly paint. And you can buy these at Home Depot already done like this. I'm going to use that for a stable base. And I have also some leftover furring strips that are from another piece of furniture that I have dismantled. I'm going to be milling those up with that guy back there to create a base for these log pieces to sit in. For this lamp, it's really important to me to utilize as many recycled materials as possible. My dad was really the king at doing that kind of thing. He would take apart old baseballs and use the string in the garden, find old scrap pieces of wood, and build little benches and chairs and things for the garden too. So because this lamp is in honor of him and it happens to be his birthday today, I really want to make sure that I try to use as many of my recycled or scrap pieces as possible to create this lamp. I just kind of have this temporarily rigged up. I don't have anything really glued and set in. This guy got bolted into the base. I just rigged up something where I could bolt this member directly in. The base at the bottom does need to be capped off, and I have some old weights that I found that look like they'll be just about the right size to weight the bottom of this thing. I'm not quite sure about cutting this extra set piece off. I kind of think I'm going to leave it for now just to see if I need it for the offset of the weight. Because over here I am going to be rigging this next part up. I have some brass parts. Little brass bit here is going to become a decorative detail that will sit in between this guy for this to dangle from. I've got to go ahead and get this rigged up in here before I deal with any of this glue up. I cut a piece of the extra bit. It still needs to be debarked. I have fixed up the angles here so that this will sit right in here and act as another brace. So between that, I will end up with my triangulation, and that should give me a decent amount of support. After this has time to set, I'm going to give all of the wood parts a spray finish. So I cut off last night. My brain was fried and I just had to call it a quits. But the more that I stare at this thing, the more it begs for this piece that's going to be housing the light to be a lantern. I can't really see it any other way. So that's what I'm going to do today. I have a sheet of copper and I have some green stained glass. I think I'm going to add a little bit of some yellow glass. I don't want too much of a weight, so this is going to be 8 inches in height by 5 to 6 inches in the maximum width. Though this is a great form and this has this prominent piece of wood going on, it is fairly large. The fact that it is a neutral color is going to offset the weight of that lantern. So I can't have something that is way too large where the rest of this gets lost. That's what I got so far. I've made a top piece out of some copper. I have cut up my glass and I have 2 sets of colorings, but they're basically the same design with different textures of the green and a little bit of a different tone. And then I have this yellow keystone that I've put in here. It has a bit of an Art Deco feel to me. Here's the second set. This little keystone, there was a giant sheet panel of this funky glass that was here when I moved in. And one of the things I asked was to keep the glass because I knew that I wanted to use it. I think it's a cool little add-on, a little bit of history of what was in this house before. So the next step is I'm gonna go ahead and grind this glass. I can solder these panels together. So each panel will get soldered on its own and then soldered together as a whole. It's just been through a washing. I am going to attempt to try and use this copper patina. Fingers crossed that I have enough here. I don't have much left. Alright everybody, it is done. I'm gonna call it here. I'm really happy with the way that it's turned out. There are a couple little minor things I want to get in here and fix, but I need to order some special hardware for it. I do need to get something so that I can clip this rope back to kind of pull it into place. Brass staple or brad or something to hold the rope. Right now I just have a brass screw kind of tucking it in. But beyond that, I think it's pretty much done. And I know that I say most of the time, every time I post a new video, that the piece I just completed was my favorite piece. After having made all of the pieces I have made so far, and I only have a couple left to go, I really think that this is probably my favorite piece of the entire environment. It really is more reflective of my artistic side than probably anything else I have made so far. I don't know, I'm just totally in love with it. I think it turned out to be a really great piece. So I'm gonna leave it here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And stick around to see how this environment all turns out.